Well, good morning, everybody. It certainly is a pleasure to have you all here. Welcome to day 1365. 1365 days since we've had a budget here in Washington, D.C. 1365 days since Congress has passed its budget. 1365 days of crisis. And that's how we manage in Washington, D.C. And I think to a degree, a lot of us can agree that probably the worst managed event and the worst managed area in this country is probably the United States Congress. And that's what we're here to do. And that's what we want to change, at least when it comes to the budgeting process. And we had a meeting this morning, a group called No Labels, an organization that I'm part of. And I tried to explain to them that, you know, I come from a No Labels family. I've got a son-in-law that's an Assembly State Senator in Arizona. And he's a Democrat, and he and I get along well, and we come together with ideas, and I think this is what this idea is about. This is a bipartisan, bicameral piece of legislation that we have in front of us today to make Congress work. And I think it's moving it in the right direction. I have colleagues with me today that I really appreciate them taking time out of their busy schedule to help work with me, work with this idea, this concept of making Congress work, putting together plans and ideas. We are, as most of you know, over $16 trillion in debt. $16 trillion of debt, and part of that problem is that we just don't budget here in Washington, D.C. And that $16 trillion, we talked about $1 trillion last year, that's not even accurate. Our increase, our actual increase in our fiscal gap last year was $5 to $6 trillion. So we keep talking about this $1 trillion deficit spending that we do every year. Our gap last year, increased about $5 to $6 trillion. And this is the accrued, we don't do accrued counting here in Washington, D.C. We do cash accounting, so we don't anticipate with the growth for Social Security, the growth for Medicare, the growth for Medicaid, some of those issues are, and that this growth continues. We know that we're $60 to $65 trillion actually in debt here in this country, and it has to stop. It has to stop, and it starts with this budget process here in Washington, D.C. So I'm proud to be part of this effort. This is an effort that I started about 18 months ago to see that we can get Congress, both sides, both the House and the Senate, bring them together and have them pass a budget. Pass a budget that both sides can agree on. We've been doing it for 240 years, and we decided 4 years ago we weren't going to do it anymore. And it's wrong. And it needs to change. And that's the purpose, and that's the proposal for no budget, no pay, is to bring both sides together, Republicans and Democrats. And I have Senator Manchin here with me today to discuss and to be part of this, the solution to this particular problem that we have here in Washington, D.C. And after that, he will introduce the next speaker. I'm pleased to have Joe with us. We have 13 co-sponsors on this bill now, 12 Republicans, and Joe's going to expand that on his side of the aisle. But needless to say, this thing is coming together. We got a vote today, a House vote today, on an issue close to this. It's a no budget, no pay concept that's close enough as far as I'm concerned in getting this problem solved. At least it's on the front burner. So anyway, let me introduce Joe. Thank you very much for being here. Thank you for taking time. And Joe, especially thank you.
Thanks, Dean. Appreciate it.